Hello, my name is TKelley. I wanted to pop on here. I haven't done any demos recently. I have some naked nails and wanted to pop on here and kind of do like a whole mashup of different things you can do with our dry nail polish strips. If you have never worn Color Street before, they're 100% real nail polish strips that go on. Super duper easy, 10 minutes. There's no dry time and they remove with regular nail polish remover. So that's our product in a 10-second blip. But I'm going to show you, you'll get to see some of the just general application, and then also kind of what fun, creative things you can do with the strips to get a mixed mani, kind of just mixing it up, taking sets that exist and turning them into something new. Okay, so as you can see, I have naked nails. The first thing you always want to do before applying Color Street is remove your nails, your nail polish. We just launched a nail polish remover a couple months ago. We just recently launched a cuticle oil, nail strengthener, and also a hand lotion. I haven't even gotten them yet because they're so brand new. So I will come back and do a review as well when I get those in hand. No pun intended. And so you'll always want to start with removing your nail polish with a non-acetone or acetone free. Acetone super damaging on your nails, so we don't want to use that. You want to push back your cuticles really well. I do a light buffing. You don't want to do a whole lot of buffing, but a little bit just to smooth out your nail. And then you want to use our alcohol prep pads, which are just alcohol wipes. This gets rid of any filing debris, any residue, anything like that, any oils. We want to have a nice clean surface to play around with. So I've already done all of that. One of the things with our nail strips are when they come to you, they're 95% dry. That 5% wet, is that sticky side. So if you leave a set out for an extended period of time, it's going to dry out because it is real nail polish and it's only 5% wet. And so they can dry out really quickly. So what you want to do is when you're doing any sort of designs, I always recommend taking out what you're working with at that moment, but putting everything back in the sleeve, maybe sticking something over the end just to keep the air out. That way, while you're working, they don't dry out on you. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to do super fast. I'm going to show you how to do a French manicure, how to do a homemade French manicure, a diagonal, stripes, and a braid. And I'm going to try to do it super fast. Just so you can see it all in one video. If you want something really detailed, I have videos here on my channel that are solid application, French application, braids, you name it. I have them all broken down by style, but I'm going to try to cram them all into one little video. That way you kind of have them all in one place too. Okay, so first I'm going to start with a French. Our French manicures are so easy to use. I remember back in the day with my little nail polish caboodle. Yes, this was when caboodles were originally released, not the recent ones. And I had all my nail polish in my caboodle, and I had these like foil sticker things. And you put the foil sticker things on that gave you the shape of a French, and then you painted your tips, and then you removed the foil. And it always looked horrendous. And I'm a perfectionist when it comes to like painting and things, and they never looked like they were supposed to. So what I love about ours is they come in our normal nail strip form. So they come like this. You get two things with our French. You get your white tips or whatever colored tips you choose, because we do have some glitter ones, black, different kinds. But they're already pre-shaped. Okay, we get 16 strips in a set, so there are plenty to choose from. You're going to get the size you want. This is a sample pack, so they're on the smaller end. You get ones big enough for your thumbs and your middle finger and whatnot. So what you want to do is with our already configured French, you are going to figure out which one you want based on doing kind of like a dry fit first. You're always going to remove your top film here, no matter what strip you're putting on, you're going to remove that first. Our strips are dry, so there's that. You're going to remove the silver tab, and this is going to expose our sticky side, okay? I'm going to put this down so you can see up close. You want to decide where you want how much white you want to show. My nails are really long right now, credit to this and cuticle oil. But you want to get it as close, or you can decide how much tip you want showing. So I'm just gonna go right here right now. I always lay it there gently, and then I kind of just touch in the middle. Okay, and then I can say, oh yeah, that's exactly how much white I want. If you want more or less, you can lift it and get the quantity you want. And then I'm going to take my thumb from the center, rub it over to the edge. I'm going to rub it to the edge this way. And then once I have it, I'm going to go with the shape of my nail, okay? I'm going to rub, and then I'm going to take my thumbnail, or you can use a cuticle tool, and I'm just going to tuck and perforate underneath the tip. You can save this for extra if you need that later. They are not double-ended, but some people get more out of a set with a hole punch, and I'm going to show you how to do that. If you ever have any excess, this applies to all of our sets, not just French. If you get some on your finger, you can do what I just did and push it down into the crevice here. If it were still on my finger, we don't want to leave that excess. I would just take my thumbnail or a cuticle tool and perforate that excess off and pull it away. And I'm sure I'll have another one I can show you on. I usually do a light file before moving on. All of our sets come with a little mini color street file. You just want to go kind of in one direction. You're not filing to file your nails. You're just filing to get that excess off, okay? So I file that excess off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of those clear. So these look white, but they are actually clear. So we want to take off the top. I recommend doing all your tips first and then going and doing your top coat, essentially. I recommend doing your thumbs last, since you use your thumbs as tools. Okay, so you can see it's a clear strip. I'm going to gently take off that tab. I'm going to get as close to my cuticle as I can without actually getting on the cuticle. This is how you apply our regular strips. Once I have it where I want it, I'm going to press it right down through the middle and then over to the side, Rub. Down over the tips. Again, same thing, tuck, perforate. Okay. I can save this other half for another nail if I wanted to. I'm going to go down along my edges. This, I had a little bit excess on the side, so I'm just tucking and perforating away from the side. So you can see that extra came off between my finger and my nail. Okay, so that is all you do for that. And then you do a nail file, right? Always finish with nail file. Again, one direction. We are not going crazy, and then it's just enough to get that excess off. Look how easy that was for a French manicure tip. Amazing. Professional looking. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here, I'm going to take just one of our regular sets and show you how you can make your own. So this is just, this is Holidays. I love this set. And it is actually I'm going to use a smaller one. No, I'm going to use the bigger one. Okay, so I'm going to show you with a 5/8 inch hole punch. This is like a craft punch. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby for like $2 or something like that. Very important thing to do when you're doing any design with Color Street where you're bringing out a hole punch or you're using scissors, you want to always take off this clear film first. If you don't, you will regret it. I had to learn the hard way that if you don't take the clear film off and you've done your cutting, it is nearly impossible to get that clear film off after the fact. So always take it off first and then start your cutting. So what I do is I actually popped off the bottom to where I could see, and I stick my hole punch in here to where I can see it. And that way I can make sure that it is in centered. Let me push you down again. So I put it in to where I can see that it's centered within that kind of like hole area. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punch it. Okay. And what it does is it gives you the manicure kind of curve like our manicures. So you can turn any set into a French. So I'm going to peel that off just like I did our other ones. I'm going to do this on my index finger just to show you. Again, get how much you want to show. I'm going to press down through the middle over to the sides. Rub, rub, rub. I always go down through the middle first. This keeps it from getting any puckers in the middle. Again, tuck and perforate. Get that excess off. Okay, this is a good example of it's on my finger. We don't want it on my finger. I'm just going to perforate that and pull the excess away on both sides. That strip was a little bigger than I probably would have normally used, but for just showing here. Okay, so I got that extra off. Okay, so what you want to do is, if you're just doing a set from the regular line, I recommend using a clear as day set, which is essentially like our top coat. Again, it comes in all the French sets, but you can buy it by itself too. So if you're doing a lot of Frenches with your own sets, you may want to grab a clear as day. Down through the middle, over to the sides, rub, rub, rub. Down over the edge. I'm going to tuck and perforate. Always do your thumbs last, no matter what you're doing, because chances are you will use them as a tool. This, I have a bunch of the clear as day extra on the side on my finger. We never want to leave the strips on our fingers, the excess, because that can cause your manicure to lift, and nobody wants that. These should last you 10 to 14 days at least, and so we want them to last. We don't want them to lift. And then I rub down around the cuticles. You don't want to get on your cuticles either, because that can cause them to lift as well. So there, again, another French manicure, making your own tip. Okay, I'm doing these really fast. Typically, I do them a tad slower when I'm doing my own, just because again, I'm a perfectionist. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do a braid. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to do is I am going to first, I'm going to get 3 colors. I have found braids work best with 3. That's my personal preference. Also contrasting colors. I've done some before where they're a little too close in color and it kind of messes up the visual of the braid. Actually, yeah. So I'll do the braid first and then I'll show you some diagonals and stripes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put on, I always do a layer down first. You do not have to do this. So I do take off my top layer, the clear film. I'm going to take off this next one. This is Cape Coral. It's one of our really pretty coral colors. Okay. I'm going to hold it in the middle. I always hold mine in the middle to where I can guide. Again, close to the cuticle without getting it on the cuticle. If you put it down, as long as you don't press it down, you can relift it and put it exactly where you want it. I'm going to go down the middle first, then over to the sides. Rub, rub, rub. Look how pretty that is. I'm going to take off that excess. Okay, so I always put a base for my braids. You could probably get away without doing it. Some people even create their braids right on the strip. I've always done mine on the fingernail. So I took off that top layer, like I said, and then I'm going to take my scissors, what kind of, I forget what they're called. They're kind of like a sewing scissor. They tend to be a little bit more narrow, and those can be nice for using for this kind of stuff because they're really skinny. And I'm just cutting like strips that are somewhat even in size. And I'm just going to the top here. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take off my first one. And you want to be careful. I kind of like try to separate them a little bit when I'm taking them off because otherwise they can get stuck to each other as you're pulling them off. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to take this one off. Okay, so it's exposing my sticky side. I'm going to start down at the base and I'm just going to create a diagonal. Not too much of an angle, but just a little bit. And I'm going to actually spread this here to where I can get multiple from one strip. Okay, so I put that kind of at an angle, and then I'm just going to push my thumb down, and that is going to take off the excess. I'm going to actually keep this excess for another part of the braid, so I'm going to sit that one to the side. You can do it all at once, or you can do it as you go where you take off the excess. And then I'm going to use Tokyo Lights, one of our all-time best-selling sets. Same thing, took off the top. I'm going to cut the strips here. I was going to do this before, but I thought it might be helpful to see during. So again, I'm going to go ahead and rip that one off. Okay, so that's exposing our sticky side. Again, I usually hold them in the middle because it kind of gives you where you can guide it. This time we're going to go the opposite direction. Still at an angle. Okay, it's overlapping the other one. I'm going to take that excess off. I love Tokyo Lights. It's one of my all-time favorites. I'm going to save that excess because we can use that. Tokyo is a little sheer, so I'm curious to see how this works with the braid. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this. Probably will not do the full braid because I want to keep this nice and quick, but I wanted you to see how you stagger them. Okay, take that off. Okay, so this one, I'm on my third color. This one is going to go next to your first one. It's going to go next to the black, and it's going to run completely parallel to it, like right up against it. This one you're not going to see as well because it is the same color as my base. The reason I like putting a base down is because then if you kind of miss like the tiniest little strip, you have color there versus just nail, and it's much easier to not notice. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my black. Notice how I'm just using my fingernails to trim those sides. Okay, so now my next black one is going to go next, it's going to go parallel with my Tokyo Lights. Okay, and this is kind of a good example. I could have probably used even better contrasting colors. I can see them when working with it, but I know it's probably a little difficult for you guys. So next to the Tokyo Lights, I'm going to run it parallel next to the Tokyo Lights. Take off the excess. Okay. Take my next Tokyo Lights. It's going to run parallel next to my Cape Coral, which is the one. It's going here. You can barely see it. I'm going to run it right next to it. It's going to go over my black that I just did. Again, taking off that excess, super easy with your fingernail. Again, if you don't have a fingernail, you can easily use easily use a cuticle tool. Okay, so I'm going back to Cape Coral. You just do this back and forth motion, okay? Again, I probably could have used a better, what's it called? Contrasting colors. Okay, so I'm going there. We're going to do Soho next. Soho's the black. I love these. If you have not worn these, they are amazing when you get out in the sun. Let's go this way. Okay, so the more you keep layering them in the braid-like fashion, the more they create that braid look. Okay. Back to Tokyo. Tokyo's gonna follow this way. Hopefully you can see that. Sorry if I'm not totally on the camera. My other easel broke, so I'm trying something different. Okay, back to Cape Coral. You can see how I'm getting that braid like, and I'll post a picture. That'll be the album cover when I'm done with these, or when I'm done with this video. That way you can see the overall look of each one. Okay, back to Soho. I'm going to trim this one a little bit more to make it similar size. And normally I'd be using all my excess, but since I am trying to be speedy here for you guys, I am not using the excess like I normally do. Okay, because this is a whole nother stripe. Okay, and lastly, I'm going to do a Tokyo across here. And that's the last one there. Okay, again, I try to rub over the tips like I would when I'm applying a regular strip, especially on that last stripe. Kind of make it like it's all one piece. And again, some people make this braid like where they take these little strips like I made and they lay them here on the strip without this plastic on, and then they apply the whole strip that's already braided and then trim the sides. I've always found I like doing them on my own to get that. This is actually making for a kind of cool mani. Okay, lastly, I'm going to show you some different things. I'm going to take off my top strip of my Tokyo Lights. I'm going to apply this to my pinky first. I'm going to apply the whole thing, and then I'm going to show you how you can do like a diagonal. Again, you get it as close to your cuticle as you can without getting it on the cuticle. If you have never worn Tokyo Lights or you've never worn Color Street in general, this is a must-try set. I always, if somebody's like, oh, I don't know what color to try, this is it. I am not a pink person, but I could wear Tokyo Lights like every day because it's so pretty. Okay. So I got a Tokyo Lights on. Obviously, I could wear that as is by itself. If I wanted to get a little creative, I could take a different set and I could make a design with it. So what I could do is I can do like a diagonal. So it's just cutting. I took that top off first and then taking it off to expose, and then you can put it on however you want. You could let this cure for just a little bit if you want, or you can do it right away. Some people do them in phases. I usually just go for it. you are the only one that's going to notice if it's not 100% perfect, okay? So I get it to where if I'm looking at my nail, okay, I'm going to put this up. If I'm looking at my nail straight on, I want that diagonal to be like this, okay, at a, what is that, 45. I don't want it to be here or there. I want it to be like it's cutting my nail at a diagonal in half, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and just kind of lay it there, and then I'm going to lay it down. This one was a little bigger than my nail was. Since I'm just demoing, I could have done a little better on sizing. And I'm going to tuck and perforate that excess like I do with all the others. Okay, and then notice I have this on the side. Again, we don't want to leave that excess. So I'm just going to take my thumbnail, go down the side, perforate, and then I'm going to pull that excess away. Okay. It's amazing because the nails are so thin that makes it easy for you to trim, for you to get creative with them. And as thin as they are, it is amazing how well they hold up, okay? So that's how I could do a diagonal. Look how, I mean, like seriously, it is that easy, okay? And then lastly, it's just like with the braid. If you wanted to do designs, I'm going to take this out. Some people use real tiny hole punches. You can get them like on Amazon with little palm trees or footprints or whatever. But some people do like stripes. Stripes are pretty common. So I could do a stripe where I just cut out a section of the nail strip. That's my sticky side. I'm going to hold on to that. And then maybe I put that here. I'm going to put it down through the middle of my thumb. I could have a set underneath, like if I was doing a certain design. Okay. So you can do stripes. You can do them however you want. You can do thick stripes, you can do thin stripes. If you are doing like a negative mani, a negative space mani, you can do something where you just leave essentially your background is your nail and just apply like a top coat of any sort. It could be our clear as day. It could be our new strengthener. Our strengthener is a top coat, base coat, all in one. So you could do any of that. I was using some of these leftovers to create different things. If you don't like it, look, I can peel it off. So those are how you can do a bunch of different designs in a short amount of time. Get creative. It's a little messy. Definitely not as messy as a spilled bottle of wet nail polish, because I just scoop this up and throw it away. So once you're done, no matter what design you decide to do, I always recommend taking that nail file and gently just getting that excess off, okay? So you'll see back here, there's my excess. I can take that off and I get my nice manicure. If you have excess as you're working on the mani, again, you can take, if you don't have a thumbnail, my nails used to be short, believe it or not, and you can take your thumbnail, or you can take that cuticle tool, and your cuticle tool, especially like on braids and stuff, you can just literally run it down where the nail meets the finger and do trimming. So you'll see there, I got all that junk on the back there. Again, just nice and slow. We're not filing to file. Some of the biggest things people say is like, oh, well, when I was filing, it took some of my tips with it. That's because you're going crazy, or you're on the top or towards the front. We want to be only on the back and gentle just enough to get the excess off. Okay, so there it is. And then I literally just take my thumbnail and clean, okay? And then I go back through and I do a nice rub, okay? Easy peasy. So you can make stripes. Like I could have put another nail on first and then added a stripe to it in any direction, diagonally, vertically, horizontally. I did a homemade, what's it called? Homemade French. I did a braid. I did a run of our regular French and then just a diagonal on my pinky. Okay? All sorts of things you can do. I'm kind of liking this as is. I will take, something happened to my computer. I will take a picture and I will post that and you will have that available to see the after as well. So my name's TKelley. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. My information is in the caption below. If you'd ever like to try one of these free samples, let me know and I can mail you one and you can give it a try for yourself. I carry on-hand inventory. I carry products on my online website, especially like our new nail care products, or we have a whole line now. We have all kinds of good things coming up here over the summer, so I can't wait to share all that with you. If you've ever had an interest in becoming a stylist, let me know. I would love to have you on my team. I have been a stylist. I will be have been a stylist for 4 years this coming June. I signed up in June of 2018. And I have a team of about 280 amazing ladies from all over the United States. We're a fun, awesome tribe, and I would love to have you on our team. So feel free. Shoot me an email or a PM, comment on this video if it was helpful. I'd love to hear what you thought about the tips and tricks, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.